Good afternoon, boys and girls. Metabreakers Podcast this Sunday at 1, as always, joined. I am Warshack. We have DmoneyGames here. Alongside DmoneyGames, we have, of course, DracoCatt, the one and only. Today, we've got some awesome things to talk about, discover, and talk to you guys about as well. We have the new game mode. We have the meta. We have also... Q&A at the end. So, what's going on, guys?
Guys, DracoCatt is a little frozen right now.
I was doing the intro and I look over just to see DracoCatt taking a fat rip of this. I lost my train of thought. I couldn't keep up with it. Oh shit!
It's the fattest cloud ever, dude.
Oh shit! Well, how are we doing?
He was unfrozen for a few seconds there, and then tried to unmute himself, and it did not work. So let me try to set up a backup for Draco here.
He's just really excited to be here, guys.
Yes.
So while D-Money sets up a whatever he's setting up, how's chat doing today? How you guys doing? We feeling good today? Sunday afternoon. Hopefully everybody got a good amount of sleep last night. Ate some good food this morning. Has a nice chill Sunday day planned.
I'm having a good Sunday, except for the technical difficulties, you know.
It was doing fine, honestly, for a while, up until we needed it to work. And then it went full papega.
All right, I have a backup for you.
Ooh,
there we go.
A pumpkin, just in case.
All right. Keep that in
now
my
you're
back
gonna
pocket.
have to move that
wait,
so it's behind
again?
the.
Oh, okay, no, you're still here. Yeah, I could move that. But yes, hello guys, welcome to the Metabreakers Podcast. We have a lot to talk about, as there were a lot of new... Oh, he's frozen again. As there were a lot of announcements this week. Yeah, it's gonna be a good episode. I'm feeling pretty good. I know a lot of people have been playing Duels lately, and I've been playing a lot of Duels, so I've been loving it. We're gonna go into that a little later, but... yeah, a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today. Oh, he's back. There we go. Nope, no, never mind.
Did you do anything fun this past week, D-Money?
No, not really.
Besides Duels?
Yeah, really just Duels. I don't know. I've been in like this loop. I don't know. Like I'm dealing with like this mental thing right now. Oh man, he's gone. He's coming back. Don't worry, guys.
Oh, I'm on dual screen now, boys. Yay.
Hello.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to fix this audio a little bit. Yeah. All right. I got you. Yeah, I've been trying to be productive and trying to make some more content, YouTube content, and just like, I don't know, I have so many things I'm trying to do, so many priorities, so I'm just like trying to like pick a few and just like do them instead of like doing like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then Duels is distracting the hell out of me, so yeah. But hey, no time like the present to start doing some more stuff.
You're talking, I'm guessing,
feeling
YouTube, right?
What about that? What?
I'm guessing you're referring to YouTube, like doing stuff.
Yeah, like I want to do I want to make YouTube content. I also have more music that I want to make as well. And then I'm trying to still like work on Hype Horizon and stuff, and like my stream. So it's just a lot of stuff, and like that's only like half of it. I don't know. I just want to do everything, man. But yeah, I don't know. Just same old. Besides that, how are you doing, Draco? How was your week?
Other than all the difficulties we were having today, it's been pretty fantastic. I'm pretty addicted to playing Duels. But yeah, I guess I don't want to stop doing that. So I'm having a good week. I'm enjoying the new mode. Really looking forward to the new expansion, just because I really like the art style of all the the dark, cutesy stuff with the evil stuff combined. I'm really into that. So I like that. I like the madness perspective of it. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, looks really cool. We're gonna get into some of those cards that were revealed a little later, but I mean, first before we go into it, Warshack, how are you doing? Are you frozen too? No, you're not. Okay.
No, sorry. I received an important message I needed to respond to.
You're good.
No, I'm doing all right. This past week, honestly, I haven't been playing Hearthstone and streaming as much as I should have, and that's because for those of you who are familiar with WoW, I hit level 60 in WoW Classic, so I've been doing a lot of raids, so Molten Core, doing Blackwing Lair and AQ40 tonight. So I've been just having fun because I know as soon as the Hearthstone expansion comes out, I'm gonna be doing that basically every day nonstop. As soon as a new expansion releases, I mean, every Hearthstone streamer knows you just got to hit the ground running, content, video content, no sleep. And I know as soon as that happens that I won't have time to play WoW Classic or any other game or go on bike rides. So I'm kind of taking advantage of my downtime right now to do the things that I won't have time for in the very near future.
That's good. I think that's very important just for mental health and just
yeah,
mental health.
Yeah. We could do an entire freaking podcast day on just streaming and why it's important to take breaks and not burn out, and the feeling of burnout and the feeling of that you have to stream every day or you're gonna lose viewers. You know what I mean? There's a whole mindset that goes into it. I feel like that's
yeah,
a lot of people find that interesting as well.
Today is day 403 in a row for me, so I totally get you there. Not really doing that break thing too much, but I mean sometimes I'll do a 2-hour stream. That's my kind of break.
Yeah, but even just playing a different game, even though you won't get the viewers, know that your brain needs hey, I just kind of want to play CS:GO today and get some headshots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just have that. Yeah.
I'm not Jay Alexander. I can't just play Rogue every second of every day. I need to relax.
Yeah, you're right. You play Mage.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Completely different class. No RNG different. Involved there.
But before we get into all the new stuff, guys, we do just want to take a look at the current meta in standard mode. So let's dive into that right now. Kabang. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. I think Mage has moved down, which makes sense because of the nerfs that had happened.
Yeah, Mage looks like it moved down 2 spots, to be honest. I thought they were 6th-ish or 7th-ish last week, and now they're 9th, down there by Warlock. I mean, whew, it's in between Shaman and Warlock, proven to be the 2 worst classes this entire expansion. The Mage is currently the Oreo of the mix.
Yeah, that's when you know that it's it's not looking good for you. I really haven't played Standard since Duels came out and since the nerfs came out to Mage, so I'm not really sure if anything really changed besides Mage. I don't know. What do you guys think? Draco, how have you been playing some Standard at all?
I haven't really played much Standard since the nerfs came out, to be honest. I'm looking forward to doing that this week. But yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak on how Demon Hunter feels since the nerfs, but it is kind of surprising that Mage was hit so hard. Kidding, it's almost an entire 4% that it dropped, which is insane from those 2 cards.
Yeah,
they were the best 2 cards in the, or I wouldn't say the best 2 cards, but definitely in the top 5 of the best cards in the deck that swing the game. Right, Evocation turns was huge. The Prime turns are huge, and delaying them by 2 turns is a big deal. That I think there were needed changes.
Yeah, I mean those were yes, the biggest 2 cards. Besides Sorcerer's Apprentice to just pop off with Evocation, yeah, those I mean we've talked about it in the past. Solarian just wins you the game sometimes, and Evocation If you have no cards in your hand, you're suddenly back in the game. You know, it'll generate you primordial studies or draw cards or just the damage that you need. Like really, really strong cards there. So really makes sense. We could jump into what the top 1K is looking like here. So the stats that you see right here, guys, this is for, I should have mentioned this before, but this is for all ranks and all servers. And then we have top 1K across all servers. These are the top decks right now. And wow, I don't think we've seen a deck in the 60s before, right? This is kind of crazy. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I have been playing a decent amount of Control Shaman for like a while now, like variants of it, some with Galakron, some without, some with fists, some with like big spells. And to see it like at the very top now is kind of intriguing. It just shows how good that mage was. Like mage really just like the ability to outvalue a deck that was built on value with just a bunch of random cards was pretty big. So Control Shaman being up there, and I think that's because of the popularity with the Demon Hunter and the Hunter and the Rogue. Because when I was playing earlier this week, I know you guys have mentioned you were playing Duels, but I've been playing like still like it's like been 50-50, and about 60+% of all my games are between the Hunter, Demon Hunter, and Rogue. And the Shaman does really, really well against them, like really well. Like you love those matchups. So it makes sense why we would see Control Shaman at the top, but the Galakron Priest is actually pretty interesting because that's, as we know, was a slower deck and it was really good, then kind of fell off. So the control deck's at the top.
Yeah. Draco, I don't want you to feel like you can't talk right now. You could totally talk. Are you like still trying to make things work over there? Are you good?
Oh, we're good. Yeah, I was just looking at the meta score right here because yeah, it looked different than when I remembered it being, the one that we're looking at right here on the screen. And I'm like looking at it right now just to make sure it's like completely accurate. Because let me see, is it the last 3 days that we're looking at? Last 7 days?
Yeah, because that's a lot. 64% is a lot.
Yeah, because I'm trying to populate exactly what we were looking at right there. And
looking at the last 10 minutes.
If you D-Money, I don't know if you saw this, but if you scroll down, there's a Silas OTK warrior.
Oh god, yeah. I know about this.
Okay.
And that's the
this is just straight up wrong.
Wait, so what? This was last one day?
I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to get the right one to you right now. But guess what? Control Shaman is still on the top.
Let me know when you sent it. Did you send it?
Coming.
Yeah,
so
I saw
money.
I saw Dead Draw playing this OTK warrior.
And it involves that 2-mana 1/4, right? And then you shield slam it after you give it to them. But how do you guarantee that you're gonna have 30+ armor?
Well, it's a 1-mana 1/4, I think.
Okay.
So that does mean you can do 2 shield slams technically. But yeah, it seems like you're really not gonna get it off too much. But apparently, I don't know. I watched Dead Draw play a little bit earlier, and he was like top 60 with it. I doubt he was using it the whole time, but when I did pop into a stream, he said he was undefeated with it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a kind of legit thing. I don't see it being consistent at all. Like I was saying when I first saw the combo, like sure, it's a cute little combo. I'm not really too mad about it per se because I feel like it's just not good. I feel like it's just like a meme.
Well, you know what the requirement is, right? Like they have to have Silas, they have to have that card, then they have to have armor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's things that you can do to kind of, I feel, mitigate it a little bit. And to like guarantee that you're gonna have, so let's say you really only need 15 armor, right? If you double shield slam.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess you just clear the board.
Slams, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see. I'm gonna try to look that up or maybe play against it and see what's up with it. But
I mean, it could be
I'm
good
interested in
against
it.
like a deck like Control Shaman where they won't be hitting you in the face too much, I guess.
that is very true.
Yeah. So this is the accurate one right here, guys, and we still see Control Shaman at the top, but that is a lot better. It's not 60% anymore. That makes more sense.
This is
yeah.
since the patch.
Since the nerfs, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting to see Control Shaman really taking it, like as Warshack said, like those nerfs really opened up a lot of room for other decks to shine, which is what happened when Turtle Mage got nerfed as well, when Druid got nerfed too. So we're seeing Control Shaman take a new light here. I don't know if you really want to play 30-minute games. I don't know how long they really last, but
I mean, against aggro and like more aggressive style decks, the games they take just as long as any other like mid-range deck, to be honest, because they end up just conceding when they run out of steam. But against other control decks, it is pretty miserable. And the card that I wanted to bring up and ask you guys about that I think is like absolutely just terrible for the game is Arcfist. I think it's inherently like one of the worst cards ever, because if you have two control players and one of them's playing it, the one that's playing it wins, right? And if you just have neither player playing that card, it takes away no skill from the game. You just play as if you don't have 10 extra cards. You know what I mean? It extends the game out 15 to 20 minutes for literally no reason. Like, that card should not exist. And I wondered if you guys have, like, did you like that card or do you not like that card? Because I've always hated it ever since the Warrior days, where you'd Baleful Banker it back into your deck. Terrible.
Weren't you running her this week?
Yeah, you have to. You literally have to, because of the other shamans that are playing her. I hate her. and I lost. I literally didn't have her in my deck, and then I played against two of these shamans in a row that did. And I you know what I mean? And they played the matchup wrong, because you're supposed to save your healing till you take fatigue, and then you start using your healing. So I would have won if I played her. But I'm like, I don't want to run this pointless card that's only good in one matchup, only if and when your opponent happens to also be playing another terrible card. So I was just like very interested on what you guys think of her.
Well, Shaman is tier 1 now, so I think it justifies bringing her, unfortunately. But I mean, I agree that card is horrible. I don't really hate it as much as you, because the amount of times that I've been in that circumstance are very slim. You know, but that's just because of the play style that I generally go for, which is, you know, faster decks or Demon Hunter. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really a fan. It's like you have to guess, like, does my opponent actually run this card? Do I have to be worried about fatigue and stuff like that? Not really a fan, but it is rotating out, I think, next, like, the 2 expansions from now, I believe. So I won't have to deal with it too much longer. But yeah, it is just like it just makes you grind out the game so much more. It's like it's unnecessary. Yeah.
And she's like an inherently just a bad card. Like, you never play this card in 90% of your games, maybe more. You know what I mean? Like, this is only a card played in a very particular situation under a very particular, you know, when you have a matchup that you need her in. And it's just like, what if just both players didn't run her and just played some other cool card? You know what I mean? Like, that's actually good in other matchups. I don't know. It just bothers me so much. I've always hated that card with a passion, burning passion.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. It'll be okay. Because we're getting new cards soon. Don't worry.
Yippee.
And we're going to dive into that in a second. Just seeing if there's anything else we want to talk about here with these 1K decks. I mean, pretty standard stuff.
New.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that's changed is that Control Shaman, Highlander Hunter still up there, Pure Paladin and Broom Paladin obviously still very consistent, very good. People are playing them. Hasn't really changed. Control Warrior still up there. Yeah,
interesting to see Pure Paladin move up. Like we keep seeing Broom Paladin up there, but
I think the reason is there's not as much bombs, right? The Control Warrior doesn't run bombs.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. So maybe it's a good time to play bombs. I don't know. But
then you lose to Control Shaman.
Yeah, maybe.
I look at the Control Shaman matchups on HS Replay, and all it has is Face Hunter. and guess what? It's favored.
Yes. I figured.
Yeah, it only runs
Against
2
Demon Hunter,
titles.
it's not.
I mean, I hate playing that deck with Demon Hunter. With Soul Demon Hunter, just because like the tidal waves are like miserable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, I wanted to look to see how the aggro Demon Hunter matchup was for Control Shaman, but obviously there's no data on that yet. So,
Well, the meta overall is pretty similar without, like, there's a couple changes with the Control Shaman, Pure Paladin, but overall pretty similar. I think we're going to dive into some of the new exciting stuff here. Starting off with Sealess Darkmoon coming into Standard. So we did talk about him a little bit before with the combo, but what would you like to say, Warshack?
Oh, I was saying it's Silas.
Oh. You know, I don't know. It seems like everybody has a different way to pronounce this card's name. I don't know. Like, somebody in my chat says "say less." I don't see that one. I think it's Sealess. That's my thing. But a lot of people call it.
Because we had that like debacle at the start before the stream of like how you were gonna pronounce it. No matter how you pronounce it, I was just gonna say the other way just to give you a hard time.
Yeah, so we have Mr. Darkmoon here, and 7 mana 4/4 Battlecry. Choose a direction to rotate all minions. So a lot of people were very confused with what this meant. And it's similar to something that we've seen in like the solo adventures, or maybe even like a tavern brawl as well, where the minions just rotate over one slot in a direction that you choose. So if your opponent has a 7/7 on the left of his board, and I choose to rotate left or clockwise, I guess, or no, counterclockwise, then that 7/7 would go into my board. I would pass him whatever's on the right of my board, and everything would just move over one slot. And you can choose either direction, and that's what people have been using for the Warrior OTK we were talking about before. I know Warshack has a little spicy deck revolving around this guy you're talking about.
Yeah. So, by the way, if you guys don't know how to get this guy for free, all you have to do is, I believe, sign into Hearthstone, and he'll be added to your collection.
What?
Yeah. But I was playing him in that a big fist Control Shaman deck that I've been playing. I throw him in there just because you can hero power and give him a shitty totem, and then you take like whatever minion you kind of want, as long as it's on the left or the right of their board, or if they only have one. And yeah, it's been working out pretty good. I'm thinking about running possibly Doomsayers as well now with this guy. So it's a turn 9, like guaranteed board wipe if I need. But it also can be used like in the early game, because I like cards generally when I build a deck to be good in the early game, the middle game, and the late game. And this just makes Doomsayer good towards the end, while he's naturally always just good towards the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see the decks that this guy fits into. Obviously, they're going to be more control style and or OTK oriented, like we see with that Control Warrior that's popping up, which I will give a shot to when I learn more about it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea with the Doomsayer. I didn't think about that at all.
that's really
Yeah, and I'm sure because there were so many new, so many unique effects for last expansion that I'm sure there's going to be so many unique effects in this one as well. We've already seen a few, including this guy. But yeah, I'd love to see what you could really. I'm not really a fan of combo decks, but if there's like a combo with this guy, but like the card that you're running included in the combo is actually used, like you're saying with Doomsayer in like a control deck, I think that I could get behind that. Yeah.
Also, does this guy work on dormant minions? I haven't played with him enough to test if I can take a dormant minion, but do you think he would?
I don't think so.
You don't think he'd take dormant?
That's actually a good question, though, because like if there's one dormant minion in the middle, like does the dormant minion rotate, or does everything around it?
I don't think you can interact with dormant minions, just like in general. I don't know. It's a good question.
You can interact with
I'll
your
have to
positioning generally.
I'm gonna
on the
Google
board.
this real quick while we continue.
Well, that was really all we had to talk about this. Unless Draco, I don't know how you feel about this card.
I haven't found a great way of utilizing him with the class that I play yet, but I look forward to that moment where there is a way to do so.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna really be used with Demon Hunter. I don't know if that really fits in too well.
I think his mechanic is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I like the emphasis on positioning. That's awesome. But yeah, I don't really know how to make use of him in my general day-to-day of Hearthstone yet. So.
Well, we can move right along from Silas and go into Hearthstone Duels, the new game mode in Hearthstone. This is the third new game mode, I guess. You had Tavern Brawl, and then you had Battlegrounds, of course, and now we have Duels. And everybody's been playing it. I mean, a lot of people have been playing it. There's actually a lot of people that are hating on it too. You know, people are saying, I don't have any wild cards. Now I have to make wild cards. This game is pay to win. La, 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 la. But I mean, I literally just got 12 wins with like a pretty basic standard mage deck yesterday. I literally spent 50 dust to make the cards that I needed. I think you could totally do it like free to play or just like with your standard collection. And yeah, I think it's so much fun. What'd you say?
I don't agree with that criticism at all. Like the people that are like, oh, I have to make wild cards to play now. Because a lot of people that don't disenchant their cards think like, I don't have interest in playing wild. What's the point in keeping these? And they're giving like a reason to have like a dated collection other than just wanting to play wild. So like for someone like Warshack who like doesn't really enjoy playing wild that much but has all of the cards, like that's got to feel kind of weird sometimes whenever you're like investing into a new expansion when you have this massive amount of cards on your back burner that you're just choosing not to disenchant. And when they create a new game mode that uses that collection, that's kind of a reward for the long-term players that have kept these cards. I don't know. Like, I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with D-Money. I don't think you need, a lot of the older cards to make a competitive new duels deck. I think it comes down to more so deck building and understanding like which treasure to pick, which hero powers to pick, which cards do I want to include. And then, but it is also very rewarding, like Draco mentioned, with players like myself who've been playing this game forever. And, I haven't purposely not disenchanted any of my wild stuff for the hope that one day they do introduce a type of game mode that allows us to go back in the days of using some of the wild cards in a format that isn't just wild. So I think this, I don't know, it's a cool new game mode. I mean, I can see why they did it. I can understand like them taking the aspect of like the dungeon runs, which a ton of players loved, and then adding in basically the arena concept of playing against another player and building a deck as you go, and not playing against like an AI.
Yeah, I have this bad habit of like saying that I came up with this first or so, like with a lot of things, but like I said this first. All right.
You did bring this up like a year ago, or like one of the very first episodes of the podcast. I remember specifically when we were talking about like game modes or new introductions to Hearthstone that you did mention that you would like to see some dungeon like PvP action. Not specifics, but the general aspect of it.
I literally said this. They did it. Apparently, a lot of other people have thought about this too. I saw that on Twitter, that they're like, oh yeah, a lot of people have been wanting this game mode and whatever. But I'm pretty sure I was the first one. All right, I can't confirm it. But yes, when the second they announced that there was a new game mode, I was like, bro. Dungeon runs, actually, no, way before that. You don't even know about it, guys. But when dungeon runs first came out, like the solo, whatever, I was like, yo, this would be so much fun if you could play against other people. like with this and like do like a dungeon. Like, oh my god, this was literally me. No, they had great ideas. They definitely they saw the potential as well. That makes me feel better inside. Like, it makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I think the only thing missing from Duels right now that it's gonna be tough to put into it, but I feel like they're working on it. And if you're not, guys, then hopefully you're listening to me through the screen. I think it would be really cool if you could somehow make it so we could go to like Bazaar Bob. If we could go to like Bob during the runs and like do what you do like with the solo things too, it would be super hard to balance. Like, it's already so tough to balance, but that would be like the only thing missing for me right now.
Is Bizarre Bob?
Bazaar Bob, yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Did you never play like the solo adventure ones?
No, I do not enjoy playing against bots
Me
and
neither,
like AI,
but-
unless it's like WoW.
Well, Bazaar Bob is where you like maybe after like 3 wins or something, you go into like a thing with Bob, and it gives you like, it has minions on the board from your side, like minions in your deck, and then it has like other like random minions on top, and it gives you coins to use and it gives you cards to use, and you have to you could like swap out cards from your deck in that phase. You can you could like take all the cards that Bob's offering you and like give them +1/+1, add them into your deck. You could like add 2 copy, or you could like make a one of the cards that is showing from your deck, you can make it start in your hand every game or something. I don't know, it's just like a cool way to like interact with your deck, remove something that you don't like, or add something pretty cool to your deck. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know anything like that, so interesting.
I think that's like in the future gonna be coming, but I've been enjoying Duels a lot, as you could tell by my excitement about talking about it right now. Yeah, I've been having duel dreams. Last night I had some duel dreams, and they were fantastic. I think Will Smith was there too. It was a crazy adventure. But yes, Duels is so fun for me. The first day I played it for like 6.5 hours straight. And then after I ended the stream, I just wanted to play it some more, but I couldn't because I was in the middle of a run that I wanted to play on stream and finish on stream. But yeah, like every single day, it's just like, man, I want to keep dueling.
So I was gonna bring this, like, we talked about this a little bit before the stream, and you're gonna save it to the stream. So my question to you is, like, what about Duels is like keeping you guys like there? Like, what makes you want to play it over standard? Like, what does it bring to you individually? Like, why do you love it, or hence dreaming about it?
I'll let Draco go first.
The reason I like Duels is because I feel like the more times I play with each kind of character, I'm like learning how to use it better. Like, one of my best runs, and one of the times I completed it, I just made a Yoink Priest. And I just eventually built an entire deck built on stealing my opponent's shit, and did that every time. Had to be really patient, and I just kept taking all of their cards off the board the entire time. I think I had like, I think I got lethal as Shadow Madness in like every single game. And that was really fun. But I only learned how to do that through playing Priest and failing a few times to figure out, like, okay, how do I want to build my Priest deck? What kind of cards do I want to include in this? And what am I not offered a lot, so that I know to bring this in my original deck build, so that I know I already have it. You know, like, I know, like, when I was playing Hunter and learning how to do well with Hunter, one thing I realized that gives me a huge advantage against other players is building like an aggro deck in that mode is putting Polk Helt and King Crush in it. Just because every single time I'm playing, I know I flip the deck upside down, I grab the Crush, I hit him in the face. And yeah, so just learning how to build each one of these archetypes in a way to get with cards that I don't usually get offered, I just find exciting. Even though sometimes it's incredibly disappointing when your first treasure is just like a whole bunch of bad ones that you know you're not going to be able to get far with in the game. But yeah, I just like the variance of it. I find it to be exciting to keep learning what are in the buckets so that I can bring the cards that aren't in the buckets to give me an advantage.
Yeah, I think for me, it does involve that variance thing. I play standard all the time. Like all of us play standard mostly, and standard is definitely getting pretty boring as of late. So anything to really change it up is just good. That's why a lot of people are playing it in the first place. And I don't really get the chance to play with wild cards. I haven't seen these cards in a million years, man. And now I'm getting to play with something that I haven't seen, and it's hella fun. And also, I mean, a big factor is that like I've been ever since I played the Rumble run or Dungeon run in the solo thing, like years ago or a year ago. Like I've been wanting this to be a thing, and now it's finally here, and it's like crazy. And I love it, and I think they're doing a great job with it. And like the fact that they already removed the robes from the game, like in like a day of it being too overpowered, it's a good sign for the game.
It is a good sign.
Yeah, they do care about their new game modes. Like you see BGs, Battlegrounds, like they make a lot of changes in there, and it seems like they're caring about duels just as much, which is really exciting because there's so much you could do with it. As far as like adding treasures, adding new heroes, starting hero powers and stuff like that. Like I'm just having a great time. It's like every run is like completely different, and you can go whatever direction you want to, because you have like the ability to choose what you want your starting deck to be. Like if you want to meme around and make like a deck with like Prince Malchezaar and just have like a million legendaries, you could do it. If you want to make like a boring face hunter, you could totally do it. Or if you want to do like a death rattle face hunter, you could. It just like allows you to go into whatever archetype you want, and that's really cool to me. It also has a rating.
Except with the Demon Hunter. That honestly does irk me about it though. How the treasure for Demon Hunter is like a big demon treasure, when all the other ones are like pretty universally helpful. Except the rogue one kind of sucks, where you makes your weapon poisonous as a combo. And then the what is the one? The hunter one requires you to have a beast on the board, which is also situational. So I'm looking forward to there being more treasures though, because it sucks for me when I'm playing Demon Hunter that I have to like be like, all right, well, where's the Void Hound? Where's the Spike Brute? And then I have to put the Hulking Overfiend in it because the treasure is just a big demon. You have to build it that way. But I'm sure when they add all the other treasures and hero powers in though, that element of it will feel just amazingly better.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not too much for them to do with Demon Hunter right now, also just because of the limited card pool. But yes, this new expansion is going to help them out in the duel mode to make it so I would hope that you could go into different archetypes there. But every other class is you can really do whatever you want, and it's just I'm looking forward to like having like a second arena mode that you could play, and like the rating thing is pretty cool too. There's just so much cool stuff about it to me.
The mage package is just like stacked. Like you have that really good hero power, and then the wand that makes your hero power do 2 damage, and then you get to make a mana worm off of it. Like there's no reason you can really build a bad mage deck, which is pretty sick. But like I don't think it's all completely balanced well, but I'm patient with that,
Yeah, so that's like you guys, both of you have actually brought up balance in your answers and some of the things you've talked about. And currently, so in my mind, like it's going to be very, very, very hard for them to like balance duels in a nice, healthy way over time. Because look at Zephyrus. I was talking to D-Money about this. When a new expansion gets released, like Zephyrus is a single card and it is literally broken for like 2 weeks, right? It doesn't give you the right stuff. It'll give you the wrong stuff. I mean, even now, D-Money, I was in his stream the other day. He had 2 mana, and then he gave you a 3 mana option for no healing. Like, you literally lost that game off Zephyrus not working as intended. And you're going to tell me they're going to do a perfectly fine job, or even a remotely close job at being able to balance each new hero, because currently they have, like, let's say 5 heroes. Each hero has 1 hero power, which they're opening up to 3 hero powers each. Each hero then has 3 hero powers and will have 9 different treasures. And then you're going to account for even more heroes and new cards entering the game. I'm like, how, I just feel like it's going to spread them so thin.
Well, Zephyrs rotates soon, so they can allocate the entire Zephyr to duels.
Well, currently that's not, whatever they have on Zephyrs isn't even enough, because he's still fucking up. It's like the next expansion rotation, the card still doesn't know if you have 2 mana to give a 2 mana healing card and not healing touch that he couldn't even use.
I used to be on the Zephyrs the Great team, but then management pivoted me to the Duels. Initial design.
the duels initiative, and so far it's been okay there. But yeah, it just seems like this is a lot of balance. This is a lot of tweaking. This is a lot of think about it. It could limit design space. You know what I mean? Because of like all these things that they're juggling. And while it is very exciting and there's tons of opportunity here, I just feel like it may be too much. I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I just don't know. It's just a lot. You know what I mean? When you think about how everything breaks down, this is like one of the biggest things they've probably ever made for themselves in terms of workload and work that they will continuously have to do over time.
Yeah, I think it is incredibly difficult to balance, but I feel like they've already shown that they could do a pretty good job at it. And there's always going to be stuff that's imbalanced in anything. So, as long as they're like on top of it and constantly trying to make it as balanced as I can, I think it's I
Who are you, man? Like, you're like saying you believe in their balance after you've been like bitching about Demon Hunter for like the last like 2 expansion cycles now.
Well, Demon Hunter's not OP in this, so.
Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I just like this mode so much. I want it
because
to succeed.
Mage is the best.
No, that's not why. But yes, they are.
Mage is like literally the best. This mode's great.
This mode is fantastic. Don't change a thing.
Absolutely wonderful.
No, I'm just really passionate about like the whole game mode. I think it's exactly what we needed. Whether people like it or not, I mean, like I feel like a majority of people are enjoying it, and it's gonna be just way better once it actually like comes out. And like they do plan a lot of this stuff in advance. Like they always talk about like how they've already like planned out like the next like 2 expansions or 3 expansions or something. So I think they have a plan for it.
Ahead.
Yeah, I think they've calculated how much balance they could do with it. It does really it does make it quite interesting for like the future sets, like you were saying, like because you kind of have to like make the cards around it. But I don't know. It's like it's really weird, right?
No, there's a lot of intricacies.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like this to be the downer. I'm just saying this as just a thing that we need to think about. Like how, like, if they can do it, fantastic, right? That takes like a huge amount of skill and thought and talent to be able to have multiple game modes within a game and have them all function and be balanced as intended. Like that, like, is huge. So very hard. And if they can do it, like, awesome.
Yeah.
This is an obvious issue they've definitely talked about, right? Like, how could we do this? Like, how do we have enough resources and split so every game mode gets the attention it needs to be the best thing it can be? Because obviously Wild is ruined. They've given up on that. But we've got other things like BGs, which they love, which is like what you mentioned, doing great and constant updates. And, it probably also helps that like literally 70% of all of the Hearthstone streamers are playing BGs. You know what I mean? Like that's a big part of Hearthstone now. Like I would say even more so than standard. I mean, there's more people playing BGs now than standard. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if this could be something that you play constantly. Like it seems like Arena 2.0 pretty much.
Also, I just wanted to say to Rob's balancing like predicament that he said right there, that with duels, with balancing cards, the power level and the ceiling is higher than standard, So like if for instance one of the cards is overpowered in standard, then it's definitely going to be, it might not be overpowered in duels, because like for instance, like when all of the old god cards come out, let's say one of them is really good, like the Yogg Wheel, like the Yogg Wheel is insane in standard, it pisses everyone off, but in duels you can the turns are so swingy and high rolly and insane that like just spinning a wheel for 10 mana isn't going to be that bad. So you can kind of create all the balancing around the standard game mode and then just let whatever happens in duels happen. Because it's already, like, ceiling wise, the power level is just way higher of what happens overall with all the treasures and shit. So
Yeah,
I
that is
think
very
like
true.
design wise and how much like teamwork requires and like development time goes, they can kind of focus the balancing on like the core part of the game that we generally play standard, and then duels can kind of be like a secondary thought. But they just can primarily balance the treasures and the things that augment the entire power levels of the deck versus the singular cards.
Yeah, so like standard, they have a smaller spread of variance to deal with of overpowered cards, but with the power level being so high here, the spread is wider, right? So it can fall farther out and still be acceptable just because of how everything plays out. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
So
point.
just keeping it on check and standard will be fine enough for duels with the power level of cards, I would say, in almost every situation.
As well, you got to think about the treasures and the hero powers too. But yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant to say. Yeah, exactly.
But like, if one card is OP with one treasure, then lining those things up, like, okay, you put this card in your deck to synergize with this one specific treasure, but then you still have to be offered it out of like a pool of like 9 or 12 or more eventually. So yes, like this one card that's like an elemental that has this synergy with this elemental buff and shaman it might just be absolutely broken. But the likelihood that you can build that deck and land that specific broken circumstance is still going to be marginally small. Right?
Roger. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also cool that like cards that really aren't that great in standard have like their chance to really shine in this mode, or like really good in like certain situations. Like it makes unplayable cards actually playable, and sometimes just like really, really good. There's like, you never know what combination you can get. It's just that's what keeps it like so fresh and exciting. Like you can just do crazy things out of nowhere. But
what kind of makes me annoyed though with it is the fact that the recruit pools don't follow any rules. You know what I mean? Like you can get an Old Doom card in like a recruit pool.
Yeah.
And you can't play around that shit. You know what I mean? Like you can't think
Yeah.
like, oh wow, what if my opponent like found like I don't know, like a mana giant and he has a Conjurer's Calling that he recruited. Like you can't be
That is
like
true.
creative with the
Yeah.
pools coming from anything. Like I got offered a Flame Waker when I was playing Mage.
Yeah, me too.
That's bullshit. Like how can they know I have a Flame Waker in my deck and then I could just go off with that and win the game? Like
I mean, if everybody gets OP stuff, if everybody gets like stuff from everywhere, then it's okay.
Well, I think it would make it a little bit more interesting and more skill based if like the sets that are in that rotation are part of the blocks of cards provided. You know what I mean? Because then if you know what's in those sets, you can sort of like build your deck around some stuff and you know what's going to be offered. Plus you have your opponent who may like know what's in those sets and then they can play around some cards too. You know what? I feel like that adds more skill to it than
It does,
any card that can be provided in any set ever. You know what I mean? And also like just makes it that much, in my opinion, enjoyable because it makes it more impactful when rotations occur because you won't be continuously always offered the same groups of cards. It'll be different when they rotate. So it adds a source of freshness as well. So I
Or
think
what
they
if
should
they
definitely
made it rarer to get cards outside of the buckets and then like gave it a golden trim as like a pocket? So you saw like, oh, okay, I got a lucky offer in here.
All right, I like that.
So like you're usually going to get these normal pockets, but then like every once in a while there's like a 1 in 3 chance to get like a special pocket. That's
well, maybe on certain levels, like certain amount of wins.
right.
So it'd be fair for everybody. Because if you have it just randomly do it, some players will get a special pocket and some others wouldn't.
RNG equals fun.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they need to like really give some reasoning to the pockets because it's like it's ridiculous because I've been offered a Flame Waker on turn 2 of Mage, and that's like the most powerful like combo cyclone card that you can have in a Mage deck, and that's it's not really fair for the person who goes up against you in game 2 when you got offered a Flamewaker pool.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know what they got offered. They could
True.
surely get offered something really good as well.
Yeah,
But
like-
yes, it would be nice
Dude.
if there was like a
Is in there. In like in the Druid pool and stuff too. Like you can get the one that refreshes all your mana crystals and stuff. Like that
Ooh,
really powerful card from the pack.
yeah. There's a lot
Well,
of
this
good
all
stuff.
goes into balancing, like I said. This all ties into balancing.
Well, I mean, they're just trying it out right now, and then the game mode is going to go into beta, I believe, when the expansion drops on the 17th of November, and maybe they'll do something with the card pools and stuff like that. I know I have been offered the same 3 cards, like in 2 different things, in like the same, like it just, that should
Mhm.
not happen. Like you might as well just offer me like a take no more cards option, but there's still like a
Well, it actually,
Yeah.
it opens up to all players that didn't pre-order. It's like November 11th or 12th. It's in the guide that I made, but it, and then Old Gods actually also enters in the rotation. So it's actually before the expansion comes out that it is offered to all players.
but the paid, like the ranked kind of thing out then?
Oh, I don't know about
Okay.
the paid version,
Yeah.
the heroic version. I just know that they're opening up a like update for it that
Okay.
allows all players to play prior to the expansion coming out, and they're and along with that, the same exact day, Old Gods will also be available for you to pick from when you build a deck.
That's cool.
That same day, and that's November 11th or 12th. It says it on the page. I don't remember. I honestly think it's the 12th, but I know it. I remember it being one of those 2 days.
Well, everybody, whether you like it or not, this is the new game mode in Hearthstone, and you should just be happy that there is something new. Even if you don't feel like playing it right now, there might just be a point where you get tired of playing Standard or Arena or something like that, and you just want something new, and this is there for you. So it's just like we have so many options within Hearthstone that it's just like super good for the game, and a lot of people are coming back to it now, streaming it more on Twitch. It's just good for the overall game. But I could talk about Duels forever, guys. All right, so let's go on to what we got here. We got the Old Gods. So there were some cards that were released or revealed so far, and four of them are the new Old Gods. Yeah, we can start off with Yasharaj here, or Yasharj, however you want to pronounce it. 10 mana, 10/10, Battle Cry. Add a copy of each corrupted card you've played this game to your hand. They cost 0 this turn. So if you don't know what a corrupted card is, the keyword for corrupted means if you played a card that, I don't know if it's a minion. Is it limited to minions?
Any card that costs more than another card, it corrupts the corrupted cards in your hand.
Yeah, so for instance, if I have a card that has corrupted in its text and it's a 5 mana card and it's in my hand, and then I play a card from my hand that costs more than 5 mana, then that card in my hand will get its corrupted effect, whatever it is. So yes, this is a super strong card in my opinion. Based on, we've only seen like one corrupted card I think so far.
We saw
But
a few, but it's impossible to evaluate this card's power level until we see all of them. Because, I'm sure that this is going to work in some kind of ridiculous way. But until we see, like, oh, what corrupted card does Warrior have? What corrupted cards does Priest have? That we can imagine, like, all these cards coming back for 0 mana in a way that they could use it all on the same turn. It's hard to speculate, like what they actually, how powerful this card is. Like, imagine if a card has a corrupted card that does face damage.
Demon Hunter.
Imagine if there's like some card that you can go face with the corrupted card, and then you get a whole bunch of them for 0. Now that would make this card a finisher.
Yeah, I mean, we never know what's gonna come out for it, but it is expensive, so you're gonna have to wait a little while, and to get those corrupted cards activated in the first place, you have. I mean, I guess I don't know if the card that you played actually has to be corrupted or not. For you
I
to
don't
get
think
it back.
so. I just think I think it's gonna be very similar to Death Rattle. Like if a Death Rattle dies, whether it was silenced or not, you'll still get, like, if a card that brings back Death Rattles, it'll still bring it back. know what I mean? So whether or not the corruption triggered, even if it didn't trigger and it dies, this should still theoretically bring it back.
I don't know if
But,
you're right on
like,
that. Sorry. Because does that make it a corrupted card if it was not corrupted?
It still has the keyword corrupted on it though. Whether or not that triggers.
But when it does trigger, I think it like turns into like a corrupted card.
Corrupted. It starts out saying corrupt, and then it turns into corrupted.
Oh, okay. All right, then you're right, D-Money. Then if the keyword is corrupt, and then if it becomes corrupted, then yes, it would need to become corrupted first and then die. Okay.
Which makes this card weaker. To be specific.
It does.
Considerably. Yeah.
It does. Well, you were gonna say something, Warshack?
Yeah, I was just thinking of like, because in order for when they come back to your hand, are they corrupted or are they back to being corrupt? I'm assuming they're corrupted when they come back to your hand, correct?
Yes.
I assume from the keyword here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So-
Then what I was thinking didn't matter because I was thinking about how you'd have to reduce this guy by at least 1, then play a 1-mana card, re-corrupt them, and then play them all for 0. To re-corrupt them. But if they come back all corrupted, then it doesn't matter. You just, play them all like Draco said and have whatever possible OTK deck there is with this guy, if there is one.
Yeah.
Some of these corrupted cards, like as like a mechanic, are gonna have to be like insanely powerful to justify running them. Because the concept of playing cards not on curve and not playing them for their mana cost until afterwards is very not typical Hearthstone. So the mechanic that we're being showed here is kind of suggesting we play the game in like a more control style where we don't use the cards that we have when they're able to be used and we use them later. So thinking about like what kind of corrupted card can you give Hunter to actually justify not using it on curve and it being good? Like it's really hard to think of those kind of opportunities. They're gonna have to be cheap. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they're giving each class a certain amount of corrupted cards. I don't think they've announced anything like that yet. But
I feel like they are. If they haven't said that they're
Probably.
not doing it, if they haven't said anything that they're giving them to specific classes, it insinuates that each class will have at least one with the new keyword,
yeah.
in my opinion.
And the one that we've seen so far seemed really, really strong. I think it turns into like a 5-mana 8/8 with Rush or something like that.
So it's a
So
neutral.
yeah, it's a
A
neutral
neutral
card.
beast.
So like just that, getting that alone from this guy is still pretty good, honestly.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Using this with corrupted minions is insane.
Yeah, I mean, what, you think there's
With
gonna be
Rush.
corrupted spells?
There
Well,
is.
there is corrupted spell. They
Dunk
showed a
Tank.
shaman one called Dunk Tank.
Yep.
I don't remember what that does.
It's
That was like, you got Draco.
4 mana, deal 4, I believe. When it's
Mhm.
corrupted, it's 4 mana, deal 4, and deal 2 damage to all enemies
Oh
as well.
yeah.
So it like comes with an additional
AoE.
AoE for the whole board. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty good to play as well on that same turn. Like honestly, you probably get your value out of this if you just play like one card along with it, and you're gonna get more than one probably. But yes, like you're saying, like this is like a control oriented card because to play the corrupted cards, you're usually slowing your deck down a bit. But I mean, we haven't seen all of them yet. There might be like low cost corrupted cards. I'm not sure.
Probably for Hunter, I imagine, if
Yeah.
they exist.
But this card is pretty exciting to me. I think it's a cool thing there. And just to point out, guys, we did we put Warshack had shared a video on Twitter a couple days ago when they made this announcement and they released they revealed like the corrupted mechanic, and Warshack had actually called out that corrupted could be a mechanic, like the new mechanic that was coming out this expansion. He called that on the podcast before they revealed this new set here. So yeah, that was pretty impressive.
That was pretty cool. That was fun. I was like, dude, corrupted. I swear we talked about this last week, and then I'm like, did I actually say that on podcast? And then I had to find it, and I'm like, oh my god, I should have to show you. And then you're like, no way. And then I linked it. You're like, damn, you should post that. And then I was like, all right, let me clip it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I know you were saying that was like a new thing in World of Warcraft too, right?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like one of the worst things I ever did.
Well,
I even like went on to say how bad it was in WoW, and hopefully they don't fuck it up in the new expansion, but I didn't include that part in the clip. Yeah, BFA, they added corruption. It was like an enhanced way to do damage. So you just needed good corruption, and like your character and your everything else didn't matter. It's just like which corruptions you got, and that's all that mattered for damage. So it kind of like ruined the whole like, play the game. So they ended up taking it away, but
yeah, hopefully they don't ruin it for this one. But
I don't think so. They seem like the new mechanic's pretty fun.
Well, do you want to see? What do you say?
Let's do the next old god.
Yeah. I was about to say, do you want to see a pretty fun mechanic?
I know what's next.
Here's Yogg Saron, Master of Fate, 10 mana, 7 attack, 5 health, just like the old Yogg. Battle cry: if you've cast 10 spells this game, spin the wheel of Yogg Saron. We had memed about this so hard one time, where there would just be like a wheel or like a slot machine that you would spin.
Yep.
And then we had also memed about just pyroblasting your opponents, pyroblasting randomly until somebody dies. And what do you know? Our memes have come true. Here's the wheel right here that you get to spin. Everything has a 19% chance, all these things right here. But then you have a 5% chance to get that skull, which will cast Pyroblast until a player dies. Yeah, what are we thinking, guys?
I think this brings a whole new meaning to Casino Mage. They just picked a wheel instead of a slot machine. That's all they did different.
Why does it have to be Mage?
I love and hate it, like, equally. I mean, I know that it's not super likely that the rod of roasting goes off, because it's like, okay, they have to meet the condition, and they have to play the 10 mana card, and then it has to land on the 5% chance. But it will happen to all of us.
It says 5%. We all know that that's not the percentage.
It's actually like 45%. They forgot to add that number in front. Yeah.
Yeah, generally when you play the Rod of Roasting, I assume it's going to be most beneficial to the player playing the Yogg, because you have a Yogg on the board to take a Pyro. So unless the board is like completely saturated with enemy minions and you're playing them as like a YOLO log, a YOLO Yogg, yeah. Then yeah, I guess in that situation, the Rod of Roasting could just have to kill like 9 of your, like a full board of your opponent's minions, and then their phase. So you're gonna hit yours more.
I mean, it's always gonna favor whoever's at the higher health total. Like whoever's above that
or has more minions.
But then it's
the minions,
and
the minions don't matter.
Oh
yeah, no, it hits.
I thought it just fires away. It just casts Pyroblast until a player dies, which means it can hit Pyroblast to a minion.
It can,
yeah,
but it's still gonna go. It's still gonna keep going. So Pyroblasting a minion doesn't even matter, because the only Pyroblast that actually matter is when it hits the faces.
Well, it hits the minions in that equation. So like if your opponent has 7 minions and you have 7 minions, then like there are 7 chances to not hit your face or your opponent's face.
So it's just making it go on longer, but it's still the same chances overall. It's just whoever has the most HP. The minions actually don't matter at all, guys.
Actually, that's kind of a good point. I kind of think what you mean. I get what you're saying, because no matter, it's going to probably hit all the minions or not hit all the minions until it hits everyone's face.
Yeah.
So the health total is the only thing that really matters, because in the end, someone is going to die.
Yeah. So it's basically who is over that 10 like threshold. Like if you're at 15, like that's. Then you could take 2 Pyroblasts. It just like depends on like how many you can actually take. Like that's what it comes down to, and then it's just all leave it. I mean, you could still totally just lose if your opponent has 10 HP and you have 30 HP. It could still totally just make you lose. But yeah.
It's just a trolled and clip card because there's just gonna be a million versions of like people playing this card, it landing on the Rod of Roasting, and then it pyroblasting either them or their opponent for consecutive times until they die, with like all of the other options available. Like there'll just be a lot of clips of like you play this card, it lands on a Rod of Roasting, there's 9 minions on board, your opponent has 30 health, you have 5, and then it just goes boom, boom, boom.
Draco, stop spoiling my clips. Come on.
That's all we're gonna see in funny moments this upcoming expansion.
All of the other options though are really good too.
Yes.
Just one of them is like just the old Yogg box, right? Like one of them's actually just what the old one did, the mystery box.
Yeah. That one, yeah, they're all really good in their own way. I mean, some of them could not be that great. If you get goggles and then your opponent doesn't have any minions, then it's like kind of bleh. I mean, even Devouring Hunger isn't necessarily that great in most scenarios because your opponent should be able to deal with one singular like big minion most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Curse of Flesh can really backfire as well. You know?
I mean, if you don't have board
fill
space.
the board with random minions, give yours rush. So it gives your opponent So like you could give your opponent like 4 winged guardians and then give yourself like a whole bunch of murlocs and a Wolpertinger.
Oh my god.
So like even though yours have rush, you just gave your opponent lethal. You know?
Well, I mean, if they have a full board, I guess. This is just an oh shit button card. This is again one of those cards that you just play as an oh shit button.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to make hopefully you'll still have like a solid deck besides the Yogg in there. Like this is not your only like win condition. Because this is really not like a card that you can rely on all the time. Like it is probably going to be good for you. Like it's probably going to be good overall, but like this is not typically gonna win you the game, which is nice, at least. So hopefully you can make a deck that has a lot of spells and still have it be a solid deck with just like this like panic button. It's kind of like the box that we have right now. Like you kind of just include box as like, okay, if I need it, I have this to just like slam down and maybe it does something that helps me come back into this game. And that's kind of what this card is. And I literally just I know like we don't like RNG too much, you know, like especially as like a competitive player, like I really don't like RNG in the game too much, but like I just want to spin the wheel, bro.
Well, as a content guy, like this is a perfect card for like me. Like I don't care about this card at all. It's fine. Like this just makes videos that much better. But like if I was a competitive player, I was like you and I played a Masters tour and they just played this card and beat me for like a set, I would be tilted. I would be gone. I would just go right to the Shadow Realm. You wouldn't see me again.
I mean, we don't even know if this is going to be in competitive decks yet.
Putting this card in a competitive deck is like a really interesting thing to think about because like it's I would say it's kind of like putting box of Yogg Saron in your competitive deck, which we have seen done, right? So I imagine this will also probably be done because this is just better than box, right? Sometimes. Wait,
imagine.
Is it better than box? Because it comes with a stat line almost every time.
It's
I think it has to be better than box.
Yeah.
And you can play it in every class. So
yeah.
This is gonna see
I guaranteed it's going to be played like in tournament. Like whether it does well or not, I think it's going to be something different, but I guarantee you it's going to be played. But what would be crazy is like, you know, not BlizzCon, that's not the World Championships top 2 final games comes down to the Pyroblast. You know how crazy that would be?
All you can do is laugh at that point, you know. It's just
this is like them double downing on the RNG like in competitive Hearthstone too, because they're like, yeah, you guys hate box. Well, guess what? Every class gets box now, and not only is every class getting box. Let's name the card Yogg Saron, Decider of Fate. You know, because like they're laughing at what happens with this shit, which is that like yes, box decides the fate of like these professional players. Sometimes the random spells it casts, these guys get relegated and they're no longer grandmasters because of the outcome of box, and they made Yogg-Saron, Decider of Fate, and it's I don't know, it's funny, but
Well,
also not fun.
We can't we can't say box anymore. We have to say wheel now. The wheel.
Yeah,
Yes.
now I can finally become a grandmaster because all I have to do is spin the wheel. It's easy.
We get to play Jeopardy.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, Yogg, this card is gonna be crazy. Even though it's so RNG based, I'm still excited to see it. I think a lot of people are. But let's move on to the next one. We gotta hurry it up a little bit. We'll probably skip out on the Q&A today, guys. But we have N'Zoth here, God of the Deep. Battlecry, so it's a 10 mana 5/7. Battlecry, resurrect a friendly minion of each type. This card's really cool. We've never seen anything like this before. And like N'Zoth does have like that. N'Zoth would resurrect minions. It would resurrect like all the Death Rattle guys that died, I believe. So this one is like very unique, and it rewards you for playing different types of minions, which could reward you for playing like a Highlander deck as well. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So this card to me, I think I'm just gonna spitball here, but it could bring out like a whole new type of deck, and it would be a type of like an amalgam deck. And that would be because the amalgams count for multiple different classes. So an amalgam is a beast, it's a murloc, it's a demon, it's all of the things, right? And if this resurrects a minion of each type, and if you run an amalgam deck, it'll re-summon all the amalgams, theoretically. And we haven't seen a deck like that before. So from them showing a card like this makes me think that we may see a new type of archetype minion, which would be like amalgams, corrupted amalgams, and things of that nature.
I think it's going to be in a wild combo where like a whole bunch of like specific cards from random like minion types. Like if you play them all in tandem, they'll have like end turn effects that do something really broken.
Oh god.
Like if you have them all out at the same time, and you only play those specific ones, so that when you play this, it resurrects like, I don't know, the board that never dies or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So like back when it was like buff a beast, a murloc, and something else. And if it's like, if you have a beast and a dragon out, do this. If you have a dragon and a pirate out, do this. You know, is that what you're talking about? Like different synergetic cards with different like types of minions?
No, like I imagine it'll be like Drakari Encounterer and like cards that like, and I don't know.
Well, that card doesn't actually have a type, right?
I know, but like I don't know what the combo is. I don't know exactly what it is, but I bet there will be a board state where like you can play like that one beast that makes your Battlecry minions cost more, another card that like the Wraith or something that like makes your other opponent's cards cost more, another thing that like pings a random thing at the end of the turn like Rag or something like that. So like you have like all of these cards that lock up your opponent from doing anything and just kill them inevitably. I bet that will be Ragnaros will probably be involved.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of cool things you can do with this card. I mean, of course, we still have a lot of cards to see, but I think that amalgam idea would be really cool. And
It's excitement, you know?
What was that?
This card's just really exciting to build around. You know,
Yeah.
it's a builder card that you can make a combo with.
Yeah, it's just a cool card. It's just a cool concept there. And I mean, the artwork looks really cool as well. I think they did a great job on all the new Old Gods artwork. And this is actually the new Warlock portrait is this card, essentially. Just like moving, which looks very badass to me.
It's very cool. It's one of their coolest, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it's locked behind a $60 paywall. Or what is it, $80 paywall.
Yes.
But it's really cool. And they did that on purpose, by the way. Like 100%.
And then we have Cthulhu, the Shattered. 10 mana 6/6, start of game, break into pieces. And then Battlecry, deal 30 damage, randomly split among all enemies. So you have to play all of the pieces first before you can play Cthulhu, before you get him. And here are the pieces right here. So they're all 5 mana spells, and they all have pretty good effects, decent effects, I'd say. Not like really good, but slightly above average ish.
They're all
Mhm.
overstated, honestly, like overcosted. Like one of them is like a Hellfire that costs 5. you know?
Yes. Well, it doesn't deal damage to the face, but also like not all classes have access to AoE like that, so you could take that in different ways.
Mhm.
But yeah, like the destroy a minion one, that's not as
Assassin.
good. Yeah, you could compare it to the priest invoke card. That does that same thing and invokes. So you are losing out a little bit when you're playing these pieces, but they're still overall decent effects. And then once you get them all out, I mean, 30 damage, that's probably going to end the game.
Most likely, yes. I'm thinking of just like, me, like you play this with like Pool Celt, and then you guarantee you get to draw these like back to back to back, and then you can like make a Cthulhu that way, and then you run like Joy Buzz, or yeah, you run Joy Buzz to get them out of the deck for 1, and then you Tog scheme them, shuffle a bunch in the deck,
Just run
then you play
Stowaway
them
and Rogue.
just every turn.
Draw them all.
There you go.
Wait, well, how does this... Wait, do you get him after you play, like immediately after you play all the pieces? Is that how it works?
No, he goes into the deck.
Oh.
But if you play Stowaway, you draw all of these at once, right?
You would draw. Stowaway only draws 2 cards.
Yeah, you get
Draw
2.
2 cards that originally didn't start in your deck. So you
Okay.
need both Stowaways, or you just need to run Pool Celt, and they would all just go to the top.
Okay, maybe your idea is more consistent.
I mean, you can run stowaways and preps, and then that could be kind of cool. Something cool that somebody brought up to me yesterday was you could do a no minion mage with this, technically.
That is, yeah, no minion mage, yeah.
And that seems cool. I don't know if that's good, but that is quite interesting.
That's a
Well,
that's
yeah,
a
because-
finisher.
Yeah, because by the time that all of this is played and you draw them, theoretically, you've used what your front of powers and your the other one, the 5-mana one.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, the deck's pretty thin anyway, so Cthulhu will be coming shortly. So yeah, definitely no minion mage with this makes sense.
Priest can definitely use this too, like without even really needing to get to the final combo. These cards aren't bad for Priest really, because you're kind of just sustaining. So you could probably just throw Cthulhu in like any of like the control Priest decks and just bank on this when you go through all your cards that you just win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, also as a priest, you could, after your opponent puts Cthulhu in his deck, you could Thought Steal and then get it. It's a little crazy.
Oh my god, that's gross.
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
Yeah, one of the counter priest is if you're going against the control priest, you just save your thought steals for when they complete it. You just sit there and wait. Oh my gosh, the counterplay.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think these new old gods are awesome, like with their artwork just by itself, and then the effects are just like fresh and just unique, and that's what we want in the game. So I'm very happy with them overall, and this seems like a good start to a very fun expansion.
Yeah, I mean these are huge, right? And this is just like a couple of the cards. So I really hope the rest of the expansion brings the flavor as well. I hope they didn't just like give us like the best up front. And
Speaking
now
of
we're
flavor, do you know what Cthulhu's flavor text is?
No.
It's my
Is the word
grandfather's
Cthulhu
deck
3 times?
has no terrible cards.
Oh my god.
They're gonna get
Yugi
sued.
boy.
They did. They changed it from pathetic because that's what Yugi says.
There's no pathetic cards in my deck.
And they introduce duels, and they say like it's time to do duel. Oh man, they're trying to become Yu-Gi-Oh. I like it. Throwbacks. But yeah, I think that's all we got here. We're gonna skip the Q&A for today. We are going over our time by a little bit here. But it was nice talking to you guys, getting to talk about these new things with you. I hope you guys enjoyed in the chat there. I'm going to shout out our two co-hosts here. We got DracoCatt over there on the right side. I need to get a command still. My commands suck. But yeah, please check out DracoCatt. He's awesome. Also, this podcast is brought to you by Hype Horizon. We're all a member of Hype Horizon, and we're going to be working to get the podcast on Hype Horizon website and also onto Spotify,
This week.
iTunes. Oh, this week. There you go. So anything that any platform that you listen to podcasts on, you can expect the Metabreakers podcast to be on there shortly, and that's very exciting. But please check out DracoCatt. He plays a lot of Demon Hunter. He's been playing a lot of Duels lately. He has a vengeance for breakfast. All right. So I totally recommend. And he has great tattoos. You can see on his hand right there. Just flexing on us. And then we have the Warshack in the middle right there. If you want to see some off-meta decks being played in a Legend, having a good time, I think he's been playing. He said he was doing 50-50 with like Duels and Standard recently. I should totally check him out as well. Always a good time. Thank you guys for joining me.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
thanks
me.
Steve Money for having me.
Yeah,
Yep.
no problem.
It was a good podcast as always. We covered a lot of subjects, got a lot of ground running, and I'm looking forward to, of course, next week, every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Metabreakers Podcast coming at you live with us, plus sometimes special guests.
Yeah, I mean the next episodes are going to be filled with excitement as they keep releasing more and more, revealing more and more content for the new stuff. I think the reveals start on like November 3rd or so. So maybe not for next week. Actually, I don't know how to do math. Yeah, probably not for next week. But the following after that is just gonna be leading up to this great time of the year. Yeah.
All
right.
Peace out, guys.
See you
Have a
guys.
good stream. Money, win games.
Oh yeah, I'm
Do
streaming.
well.
Oh yeah.
Yes. dual right.
I will.
Save your grandpa. Get him back from Pegasus. Get your gold stars. Have a good one, chat. Thanks again, and see you, Draco.